Okay, this is a direct quote, no
Oh God.
paraphrasing, word for word, right?
Mm.
A very mixed race with an awful lot of penalties for track limits. Yeah, not to us. We didn't get one. Well done to you for managing that well. Would you like to guess what driver,
Oh
engineer
no, this is Ocon at
said that?
Austria, isn't it? That'll be
It
Ocon, the one
is.
with the most amount of penalties. For God's sake, man. Keep the car on the road. It's not difficult,
Well
man.
done to you for managing that well. Who got the most penalties?
The man who managed it well.
Esty Bestie.
Unbelievable. All right,
Oh
welcome
gosh.
to the British Grand Prix preview of the 107 podcast. By the time this releases, I will be sat at the track, ready to go, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So this
I'm,
would be
I'm really looking forward to the episode after to hear your experiences of being in the grandstand, seeing some of those cars, because like we mentioned in the Austria one, cars look a lot different in real life.
They do, yeah.
So, and you're going to have a very unique livery that you can tell me, because
I
we're
am.
disagreeing on the livery.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, McLaren have gone back to early 2000s-ish levels of I guess nostalgia is the word I'm going to go for. So they've essentially brought back an homage to the liveries of the past with the like Vodafone branding and the chrome coloured cars. If you're watching this podcast, you can see that in Ash's video background. But I think that the car looks great. And I have a funny feeling that exactly what we said last year in Austria, the cars look better in person. I have a funny feeling, I have a funny feeling that it's going to look amazing in person. I am genuinely. So the news came out on Monday, and today, when you're listening to this, this will be Friday. I really hope that some merch has come out by this time, because they did merch for Monaco, they did merch for golf. Like, if you're not like capitalizing on this, then
actually though, what merch can you do? Because obviously with the golf, it's light blue. You can make a hoodie. Can you have a chrome hoodie? They could basically
it's
be
just
just
grey,
selling you
I guess.
suits of armor.
It's just grey, and you can get like printing that would have like a chromey style on it and stuff like that as well. I think there's stuff that you can
know what? You can go old school rapper, and you can have like the grills on your teeth.
Oh yeah, McLaren grill.
Chain.
Yeah, it's just a grill with the McLaren logo across the front two teeth. No, I hope they release some merch, because then I would be poor, because I would have bought all of it. But yeah, so I think that that's going to be pretty cool. I think there's potential for Williams to do something slightly special with their car. But I think it's going to be an exciting weekend. I think even if I wasn't there, I think it's going to be really good to go to a race again this year like we did last year. And I think it's going to be an interesting race. I mean, Max is probably going to win anyway, unless, Lewis Hamilton decides to yeet him into a barrier again. But that's probably not going to happen. So, but yeah, I think the racing could be good. We've got upgrades coming for McLaren. We've got Mercedes upgrades hopefully being a bit more effective. Hopefully Aston Martin will be a little bit better than they were in Austria last weekend. Ferrari have got upgrades as well, so I feel like that battle for 2nd through 8th is going to be a lot more interesting to see who ends up in the points.
Yeah, you always get really good racing at Silverstone. There's always a track. There's a lot of incidents, a lot of good overtakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the race as well. It's always something special about the British GP as well.
Yeah.
Maybe because most of the teams are British. It's just that a little bit extra, like McLaren with the new livery, which I'm not a fan of. And it's not their fault, because sponsors are sponsors and they pay for where they want their sponsors on the car. Because it doesn't quite work as well with the orange and the Velo. But, it's different. And I like the fact that they're trying something different. I still think the best one-off livery was the white Red Bull.
Yeah, the white Red Bull was pretty special.
Whew, that was...
Yeah.
So pretty.
The white that was pretty good, and the McLaren Golf livery was also pretty special as well.
The Golf livery was pretty cool.
Both were pretty good.
Okay, inevitable question.
Oh God!
All right, is Sergio going to get to Q3?
Well, I mean, it's 50-50 at this point. Jesus.
Not even like who's going to win the race. It's like, is Sergio?
Yeah, well, the race winner's out of the window anyway. We also know that like 9 times out of 10, if you had a gun to your head and somebody asked you who's going to win, you're gonna say Max. But I don't know what Sergio's record is like at Red Bull. However, I don't think that should fucking matter if you're in the fastest car.
I think Austria's done well for him because he was quite ill and he put in some. I know he didn't get into Q3, but he put in some good performances, and to get onto the podium in the race, I think it's given them that bit of a boost.
Hopefully, it'll give him a bit of a boost. Yeah.
Yeah, he got P2, I think, last year. Because remember, Max had problems.
I believe so.
And there was a whole really kind of famous, and through goes Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Crofty, where he was, so it's like him, Hamilton, Leclerc, and Perez fighting for those last two podium spots because Sainz had just run away on fresh tyres.
Yeah, so Perez was second, and he was only 3.7 seconds behind.
So I think, from last year as well, he knows he can get on the podium. So I fully expect a Red Bull 1-2. Who's third? That's really going to be a tough question.
It's up to the gods. I'm not sure either. I can't see his.
It'd be nice to see a British driver.
So
maybe one that hasn't been on the podium, like Lando or George.
I'm just looking at
P3 spot.
At Checo's British GP results, and they're not amazing. Like 7th, 10th, 16th, 9th, 6th for Force India in 2016.
What about when he had a competitive car? So about 2021 and 2022?
So 2021, he was 16th.
What?
Yep.
He must have had issues, kind of thing.
I can't remember. And then
that's the thing, you don't really remember a Sergio Perez at Silverstone performance.
I'm gonna go through and have a look and see if there's. You know what? I don't really care. But yeah, he didn't do particularly well. But
so really, last year was his only really good result when he had the car.
Yeah, his only very good result. So yeah, but I think that we'll wait and see what happens essentially. I think it's like you said, it's almost like a given who's going to win. But after the last couple of races, who knows whether or not Perez will be P2.
Yeah, I hope the McLaren upgrades continue to work well. We can see them more competitive. I hope Aston are a little bit more competitive. I think they will be, and Mercedes as well. Because let's see that fight between Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston, and hopefully McLaren will be there as well. That'll be quite good.
Yeah, in all honesty, if McLaren managed to get a podium, that would be unreal. Like at any point between now and the rest of the season, especially at Silverstone, please, for the love of God, just give me a podium.
British team, British driver on the podium.
Yeah,
Oscar gets it. Well,
you never know.
Oscar
could ruin everyone. But I think that that could be pretty interesting to see whether or not McLaren do end up on the podium between now and the end of the year. I mean, to be fair, Lando was the only one on the podium last year outside of the top three teams.
So
there is that to take into account.
So I saw this on Ted's notebook.
Oh, God, yeah.
The pit lane, and maybe you'll see maybe some of this happening on the circuit or anything like that. The pit lane is going to be different at Silverstone.
Oh.
Because in the center of the pit lane, there's going to be a new team.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
There's going to be Apex Racing, which is the Formula One film that Brad Pitt and Damson Idris are working on. So they're going to be doing some filming there. So you might see the Apex Racing car out on track or something like that.
Yeah, I think there was some. So I'm looking obviously at the calendar, and I think there were one or two sessions where there were there was some sort of mention around some filming being done and bits and pieces. Yeah. So, but I don't think it will, impact the race in any way, really.
No, it's no, of course not. That would just be horrendous.
But I imagine that they would have fake pit crew come out when nobody else is pitting during the race and film 20-30 seconds of footage or whatever. And
they can do amazing things with CG and stuff.
Exactly,
like
that,
so,
if they just have one camera fixed on the opposite side of the pit lane, even I can bloody do this. You just literally just bring in the other footage on the top, so you've got cars going in front and stuff like that. So I think it would be very good, but it's really cool that they're going to be doing some filming bits and pieces. I had no idea whether or not I'll see a Formula One car with camera strapped to it and stuff like that, outside of obviously regular regular sessions and stuff like that. But we'll have to wait and see. It might be that they, between sessions they have one of these camera cars, run around for half an hour.
If I'm filming, I would do it because it would save having to like CGI a crowd in.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So,
we'll
have to wait and see. But I won't be able to see it, unfortunately, from where I'm sitting. I'm on the national pit straight. So I'm sort of where, I don't even know, like turn 9, I guess, essentially is where I'll be.
That the straight where at the end of it, that's when Max and Lewis had their accident, right?
Yes.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. So that's as far as I'll double check. But
I don't know where I'm sitting.
Well, I know that it's the national pit straight, and I didn't pay for general admission. I paid for like proper seat because I've never paid for a proper seat before ever, because I'm a cheapskate. But so I'm just looking at a photo now. I just want to double check. I know where I'm sat. I'm not a complete moron. But essentially it is, so it's along the straight. And then Cops, obviously, is because I was going through turn 9, obviously doesn't equal Cops in my head. But I will be able to see that to my left as I'm looking at the track, essentially. So I'll be able to see them coming out of like Luffield, where it's almost like a 180 out of Brooklands, and then coming down that old pit straight towards Cops.
Cool. Yeah.
So should be good.
Yeah, look forward to hearing about your experience of having a seat. And
I know. Well, I mean, hopefully it'll beat Belgium. My God.
What are you going to do around? Because obviously, when we did GA, you were able to walk around and get some pictures. What's the plan with getting some pictures?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I'm really into my photography, so I'll be trying to take some really nice shots of these cars. And essentially, my plan is to do quali in my seat. And because I have access to like a specific seat, you can actually get in the general admission area. Because essentially there's like a pathway that goes round the edge, and they only check your tickets as you try and go into an actual seat. So in the general admission, anyone who has a ticket gets into general admission. So I can just at any point I can disappear and I can go to my seat. My plan is to during the free practice sessions, I will disappear into the general admission area and try and get some good shots of like where the general admission area is. It is around the Wellington Straight, Brooklands and Luffield. So it's like slightly different position on track from where I'm going to be. But it's like, if you look at the Silverstone circuit, it's almost like a big oval with like a triangle taken out of half of it. It's in that triangle.
Show them the tattoo.
Oh, yeah. And I have a tattoo as well, because of course I do.
You could have pointed on the tattoo. This is where I'm sitting.
Honestly, yeah. Maybe I should just get a little dot tattooed where I'm going to be sitting. And yes, I fully understand how absolutely ridiculous it is that I have a Silverstone tattoo, even though I've never been to the track ever. But it's a nice nod to Formula One. I really like it, so whatever.
Plus, you're going anyway.
I'm going anyway, so it's fine. I just got the tattoo too early. But yeah, it should be a really good race, and it should just be a nice experience to go to a Formula One race again. Because I've had a horrible experience and then a pretty good experience, and I think this will probably be the best experience that I have. Whenever anyone talks about what Formula One race would you guys like to go to or whatever, they always talk about the British Grand Prix. They always do. Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to the best one.
There's going to be so much going on, and you've got a seat. Trust me, that makes a huge difference.
It's covered as well. I'm going to add that in. It is a covered seat.
Have you done a weather check for the weekend?
So would you like to have a little bit of a weather report?
Yes, please. Because I'm hoping you tell me Sunday is raining.
The last time I checked, Saturday, there were going to be storms. Ooh. And that is exactly what I'm looking at right now. So Silverstone, according to BBC Weather, which is like the Met Office in the UK, or like a UK weather station, it will be raining at 9 in the morning, a thunderstorm at 10, and then raining between 11 and 3. Quali starts at 3.
Okay, so it could be an Austria sprint race where
Yes,
the track is,
but
they start on inters.
There is still a chance of rain being on the track at 4.
Okay.
So I think it could it could be setting us up for a very jumbled up quali, which is nice.
And Sunday?
And also, just very quickly, on a personal level, I think it's quite nice that there's going to be different conditions, because if it's in the rain, the cars will be going slower, so it'll be easier for me to take some photos. And there's different conditions. So if Saturday is rainy, I get loads of rainy shots, and then on Sunday it's not rainy, so I get lots of like sunny shots. Because on Sunday, sunny intervals with a gentle breeze. So temperature on Saturday, will be between 20 degrees ish while we're on track to 23. And then Sunday, it will actually be cooler, and it will be between around 18 all the way up to 22.
Wow. Okay.
But there's a small chance of rain on Sunday, so we might get patches of drizzle type thing, because it's cloudy. It's like overcast. So we'll have to wait and see. But
I want you to be
very weirdly,
as comfortable as possible.
Friday, it's very sunny.
It'd rain on Sunday. I want you to be as comfortable as possible, but I was hoping it'd rain.
I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered about the rain. I'm fully prepared for the rain. Because I have a covered seat.
I know, but I know you weren't in a seat last time, and you'll talk about this in a few weeks. But Spa was not the best experience.
That was horrific. But that's because I wasn't prepared, and I learned my lesson. So don't you worry about that. But yeah, as of recording, I'm literally packing. Like, my suitcase is on the table, getting ready to go. I'm trying to work out what I need to bring, etc., etc. But one thing that I did kind of want to mention as well, and something that I haven't done but kind of wanted to do in Austria and didn't get the chance to do in Belgium because it wasn't a thing, but I'd love to actually go on the track. So for those of you who don't know, the most Grand Prix places actually open up the track after the race is finished and there's no cars left on the track, so that fans can actually go out and walk on the track. So that's something that I would absolutely love to do. I'd really, really like to experience that for sure, because it's just a cool thing to do. I'm kind of hoping that, because I know that there's been an uptick in people like trying to take stuff from tracks and stuff like that.
Have you seen the images of people walking around with DRS
signs and stuff like that? And it's like, honestly, like it's pathetic. Like I don't agree with it because it's theft. It just is theft. If you find a bit of carbon fiber on the floor or whatever and you pick that up, that's yours. That's fine, whatever. But if you are actively taking signs from a track, you're an ass. So I'm kind of hoping that they don't change that rule. Because I'd really like to experience it. I think it's something that like will be an annoyance if I don't get the opportunity. But because I know that where I'm sat and then where the podiums and stuff will actually happening, it would take me like 10-15 minutes to run to where the podiums will actually happen. So I'm not planning on being around the podium celebrations, not really. But if I can, jump on the track and like have a little bit of a walk around and just appreciate it, then I think that would be much appreciated. My kind of plan is to, as the last laps are happening, disappear from my seat and head round to general admission, because I believe that's where people will be allowed to walk on the track and stuff like that. So, but I don't know what the rules are. I'm gonna reach out to a couple of people and ask what the previous years are, or like what precedents are. I should hopefully be bumping into Terry and Matt from Fans Talk, say hello, introduce myself in person, that sort of thing, at some point over the weekend as well. So they might know. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, like I said, really, really looking forward to it. And you regardless of the weather, regardless of providing the race isn't absolute rubbish, which it shouldn't be, hopefully, touch wood, then yeah, it should be a good weekend.
Yeah, Silverstone has some of the best. I know everybody and Lewis is this is the best crowd. This is the best crowd. But there's only 2 times where I've been really impressed with the crowd. One was Australia, So this is when the 2014 engines came in, and I think this is a good thing. I've talked about this before. Because they're quieter, you can hear the crowd like shout and scream. And you heard like Daniel, it was wet qualifying, and you heard Daniel Ricciardo put it on pole, and everyone just went, yay! And then Lewis Hamilton put it on pole, and you just go, ah! And that's just such a magical experience. And then the really famous clip of like through goes Hamilton, like hearing that,
hear the crowd,
you can hear the crowd scream in the background over the engines. Obviously, I know they're not loud, but they're still fairly loud.
Yeah.
And hearing that, and I've not heard that at any other race, not even like the Dutch race or Austria.
I think that the F2 cars are actually loud, or the F3. For me, I felt like they were louder when I was at previous races.
Porsche Super Cup when we were at Austria sounded amazing.
That was pretty cool, yeah. I do like the sound of a Boxer engine.
Do you know what support races are going to be there? Are you going to be watching
I can tell you.
And stuff?
I can absolutely tell you because I have it in my calendar on my phone.
You're so organised. You are the complete opposite of me.
I've put the sessions into my phone, and so there will be F3 and F2 and Porsche Super Cup. So there is an F3 and an F2 feature race and a Porsche Super Cup race on Sunday, and there is a sprint race for F3 and F2 on the Saturday as well, and then obviously their quali will happen on Friday as well. So there's lots of racing. Like there's a lot of racing, which is really, really good.
And I'm sure maybe they might do some kind of show run. If Williams are doing something special, they could bring up the
so I do have
cars.
some information on that. So Saturday at 10:15 local time, there will be a historic F1 car demonstration, and then they're also doing the Pirelli hot laps as well. So the hot laps are happening like on track as well. So I've saved that into my phone too. But there will also be a Spitfire display on Saturday at 2:15, which is pretty cool. And then on Sunday, they have another historic F1 car demonstration at 11:10 before the Porsche Super Cup. They have the Drivers' Parade at 12:50, and then they have a Red Arrows air display at 2:15 for 15-ish minutes before the F1 Grand Prix kicks off at 3 o'clock.
Look forward to it.
So yeah, I'm just hoping. So I'm going to be getting a mega bus there because I'm cool. And also because I don't own a car in the UK. So I'm going to be getting a coach there and back. So I actually need to speak to the coach driver and be like, hello, if there's a red flag and we're delayed by an hour, are you going to wait or are you just going to jog on and leave us to fend for ourselves type thing? Because public transport in Silverstone is not good.
I'm sure they'll wait.
I'm pretty sure
because you're not like the only one.
Yeah, so this is the thing. I think that,
delayed.
But they've already got our money, so there is that. But I have a funny feeling that if there's a red flag, they will just essentially add on the time. So if the red flag is for 20 minutes, if they're due to leave at 7 p.m., let's say, they'll leave at 7:20 so that they have the extra time.
I'm sure it's in the contract or services they provide.
So Megabus is a partner of the Silverstone track. Yeah, so I'd imagine that, you know, it's probably absolutely fine. And I remember, so I went to the playoff finals when Reading were in the playoff finals a couple of years ago. I don't want to talk about Reading right now, but I went to the...
We don't ever want to talk about Reading.
But I went to the playoff final and there were coaches after the game as well. And so they specifically said, if Reading win and there's loads of celebrations and stuff like that, we will go at this time. If they lose, we will go at this time. But even then, I think they waited 15, 20 minutes for two people because they hadn't arrived to the coach just yet. They were having a drink or doing whatever, and they just didn't turn up at the time we were supposed to leave. So I have a funny feeling that, like, if the majority of people, let's say like 20% of the bus haven't turned up, then I have a funny feeling they will definitely wait. But if there's one or two, they might just go anyway. Luckily, obviously, you know, the UK to me isn't a third world country, so luckily I can get around, or, you know, try and scavenge some sort of lift to a train station or
hitchhike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hitchhike. But no, I think that I've had a look. An absolute worst case scenario, I can sleep in the Aston Martin F1 headquarters, so I'm not too bothered. The old one anyway. No, they have buses and bits and pieces. So
You'll be fine.
I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. But I'm not.
Just think about.
I will happily miss a coach. That's not a problem.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, it should be absolutely fine. But yes, I'm really looking forward to it. I might be going on Thursday to a launch party, which when I spoke to Matt and Terry. They said that there was going to be a launch party on Thursday. Calvin Harris is headlining. There's going to be like some sort of party thing. It goes on into the evening, and I didn't know about it. And I thought, oh, cool! I bought a ticket. That means that I get access to the Thursday party. No, there was some sort of raffle, and I completely missed out. So it is what it is.
What were they launching?
It's just the launch, like so the day before, like the Friday where they launched the race weekend. It was just.
It's just like
an excuse to have a party because they have a party on the Saturday night. Black Eyed Peas are playing, so I can listen to "This Is the Formula," and just want to shoot myself in the head. I guess no, that's Will.i.am specifically. That's not Black Eyed Peas,
Will.i.am
is it?
and Lil Wayne specifically.
But for a fact they're going to play it. You know they're going to play it, and they're going to get booed off stage. I hope. But there's some other bits and pieces happening. There's some podcast recordings happening live. So sorry about that squeak. I was just moving my mic. There's like some podcast bits and pieces happening. There's like a fan experience zone as well. So there's going to be lots and lots to do for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't stop talking about it, to be completely honest. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. We obviously,
I think I'm just going to leave the podcast and
just let me do it solo. I was thinking about I might record some like solo thoughts like straight after, like on the Monday or on the Sunday when I get home.
Well, why not do it when you're at track, like post qualifying?
I could do. I'll wait and see how I feel, because also I don't want to record a solo podcast or anything like that. Like
just something for like a TikTok or an Instagram.
Everyone. Yeah, I can do some thoughts and stuff like that. And obviously there will be trackside coverage this weekend, which is fun. So yeah, it's really, really looking forward to it. And if you're listening to this now and you haven't been to a Grand Prix weekend, try and get to one, because if you're enough of a Formula One fan that you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a big enough Formula One fan that you actually want to get to a track if you haven't already. So yeah, try and go. I don't know what your local one is. Yeah, it's definitely an experience. I think I've said to you, Ash, that I'm trying to go to one different race every year, because then, I've got like 25, 26 years of, going to one different race every year. So, and we've already got Budapest penciled in, tentatively penciled in, depending on calendar for next year, etc., etc. But there are so many tracks that I'd love to go and visit. I'm not going back to Belgium though. They can jog on, even though I've very nearly bought tickets this year.
I think we could take little edits from previous podcasts where you just shit on Belgium, just
slate
and it would just be like an
Belgian
hour
Grand
long.
Prix. Yeah,
I'm not going to Belgium, not going to Spa. I fucking hated it.
I hated Spa. I was cold. I almost died of hypothermia. I think that's the only other one that I'm not going to go back to. Or maybe because it was my first one, it should be my last one as well. It should be like after I've been to every other race.
Have you ever seen the trio films, the Hangover trio film?
Yeah.
And when the first one's in Vegas, and then it's Thailand, and the third one it's like back in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I think one of the characters is like, I never thought I'd come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that'll be you.
That will be me. But I think, like I said, Hungary's on the list for sure. But I want to do one like far away. Like I want to go to like the US or Australia would be really, really cool. Japan, Singapore. Like I want to do a far away one. Singapore I think would be really good. Because obviously it's at night. I've never been to a night race as well. It'd be an experience. But Suzuka. So,
passionate fans as well.
I kind of don't I don't know about Brazil. Brazil could be really fun as well, but I just like, and this is no way of me trying to paint Brazilian people as horrible people, but I just have a feeling I get mugged because I just don't know I don't know where to go, where not to go. I'd be the idiot tourist that got mugged. I just know it would happen. I'd have to go with a group of people.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd be.
Because I'd have no idea. Because I know from things I've heard from people who have travelled there, like there are just places you don't go.
Yeah, I know, but I've been to Mexico, not for the race.
Yeah.
And generally, if you just stay in the touristy, resorty area, there's loads of police there. They're like, don't go here, don't go here. So you'll be fine.
Yeah,
but
Mexico would be a good one to do as well.
It would be. Silverstone next week. Who are we going to predict a top 3, or should we just go second and third, or should we just go third?
I think we'll do.
You know what? Let's go top 5.
We'll do top 5. Top 5. Why not? Special occasion.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. All right. So on 3, we'll say who's first, and then we'll talk. And then on 3, we'll say who's second, and then we'll talk. Right? Because fuck it, why not? All right. So first. 1, 2, 3, Max.
Yeah,
it's just. I don't even know why I bothered. I should have just gone. Okay, so second.
Second.
Yeah, Max. You can't not have Max there. You can't. Yeah. Second. 3, 2. Oh, for fuck's sake! I was going to do the 3, 2, 1. I was going to say Hamilton.
We can't 3, 2, 1, everyone. Okay.
I was going to say Hamilton second.
Okay.
I think Hamilton second. There's something about that track. It could bring out hammer time. You know.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'm going Leclerc. He's quite strong at the track.
Mm-hmm.
Could have won it last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Leclerc,
especially
with the upgrades to the Ferrari.
Yeah. What about third?
Third, I'm going to go Hamilton.
I'm going Sainz.
Sainz. Okay.
Yeah. Sainz third.
Fourth.
George.
I'm going to go Sainz.
Okay. And then fifth.
Alonso.
Yeah. I think Alonso fifth. Realistically, I want McLaren somewhere within that top 5, but I just don't know how good those upgrades are going to be.
But I can only. What's your mathematical statistical spreadsheet?
I haven't updated it actually. But I think obviously again I don't know if I've mentioned it before. I'm a bit of a McLaren fan. But really? I think double points at Silverstone would be amazing.
Double points will be a win.
That would be a huge win for McLaren. So if we get double points, and if we get somebody unexpected on the podium, I'm a happy boy. Obviously anything on top of that is a bonus. Like if we get a brand new winner, then sure. If we get like not only just like brand new winner for like the season, but like just like a brand new, like it's somebody else other than Max, like even if it's Lewis,
I think that's it. Just somebody else other than
somebody
Max
else would be very interesting. Again, I still think that's going to happen in Hungary, and we'll talk about Hungary in a couple of weeks. But it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens, because also you've heard, quali I think is going to be a bit of a mix-up.
Yeah. So can you imagine a Red Bull? I was going to say a Red Bull at the back of the grid, but that's already happened.
We already have that. Sergio,
maybe Max at the back of the grid. It'll be interesting to see him carve through the field.
Do you know what? It would be really interesting if, let's say, Max binned it in quali and he had to change a lot of engine components and whatever, and he had grid penalties and he had to start from the back. That would be really cool to watch. Like in Miami, I guess, where he came from 15th?
Something like that.
13th, something like that. But he came from like the middle of the pack and fought his way all the way through to end up coming second. That would be insane. To see a run like that would be really, really cool. Like I honestly put the dog in him, get Lewis to start P20 and watch him try and fight his way through the pack in Silverstone. That would be unreal.
Wait, didn't he do something similar in 2021, right? Because he had the 10-second time penalty.
Which was not enough, FIA, might I add.
And there was also, was it 2017 or 18 where he got spun and then made his way up to like P2 or P3.
I think this is what I mean by I think Hamilton will be P2 because he's a different animal at that track. But either way, the weather looks interesting enough
on Saturday
that it will mix things up for Sunday. And there's even a chance of rain on Sunday as well. It's a very slim chance, but there's a chance. So I can't wait. I just can't wait. I want it to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday already. I mean, obviously as you're listening to it, it will be Friday. But yeah, I can't wait.
So, because this podcast could turn into 8 hours of you talking about Silverstone.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Since we're previewing things, Do you want to talk about a preview of 2026 after some comments by Max?
So Max has come out. I will pull up because I want to quote this directly. But Max Verstappen has blasted the pretty terrible, in quotes, F126 rules and fears a massive development war. And so essentially, because the engine regs are changing to include biofuel, and also the split of power is 50% engine normal power and 50% electrical power. Personally, step in the wrong direction for me. I think we already have Formula E. Please jog on with your electric crap, because I just don't think that's what Formula One is. Please focus on sustainable fuel and leave electric to Formula E. I think, yes, we could just have ERS and stuff like that. Maybe you get like 20% of your power, sure. But leave it to Formula E. But so essentially, they've already looked at some of the very early data and said that they're going to make them essentially Frankensteins of engineering. He said, I've seen the data already on the simulator as well. To me, it looks pretty terrible. I mean, if you go flat out in the straight at Monza, I don't know what it is, like 400 or 500 meters, I guess he's meaning, before the end of the straight. If you downshift while going flat out, it is faster to go down the Monza straight. It is faster to downshift halfway through that straight, because then you're generating energy for your battery, essentially. That doesn't make any sense. That is completely ridiculous. He then goes on to say, but for me, the problem is it looks like it's going to be a internal combustion engine competition. Whoever has the strongest engine will have a big benefit. But I don't think that should be the intention of Formula One, because then you will start a massive development war again, and it will become quite expensive to find probably a few horsepower here and there. I think it should actually be opposite. He goes on to say other bits and pieces like it will be even harder to overtake on straights. I think that it's, like I said, it's a step in the wrong direction, and maybe but I think it says a lot about Red Bull, the fact that they're looking into the 2026 data. But I have a funny feeling that's because obviously they have Ford coming in and they will be looking at it specifically, and Red Bull powertrains will be looking directly at the engines for now. So I think that you just have a different split in terms of who's working on what. And so I think that they're obviously focused on 2026 as well, especially because they're running away with it right now in 2023. So they're probably not as worried right now as compared to Mercedes or Ferrari, who are engine suppliers who don't have as powerful engines or a car as Red Bull. But I think that once those other teams start realizing that these 2026 regs are going to be weird, I don't think that it's going to go down particularly well, essentially. So, yeah. What do you think, Ash?
There's a lot there. I think there should be a focus more on synthetic. I think the problem is 2026 is locked in. And it's going to happen. Like, I would say focus more on biofuel, synthetic fuel, and if you can, bring back V10s and get that noise back. But
even V8s would be good.
They're like, here's the 2026 regs. I think it's worrying what Max has said, and I hope the Formula One FIA take that on board and make changes if necessary, because it's like, it's quicker to downshift in the middle of a straight.
That makes no sense.
Making overtaking more difficult. They're kind of taking a step backwards.
Yeah.
And who knows how DRS will play into it. If you're like, I want DRS and I have to downshift to get the most out of the DRS, it's worrying. I kind of echo his concerns. A little bit, I won't say concerning, but interesting that Red Bull are looking at 2026, but it makes sense because they're going to be an engine manufacturer anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Audi have the same data and Mercedes as well.
Yeah, but I guess Audi haven't come out and said anything either.
Yeah, because they probably actually, you know what? We might be able to work our way around this. And we don't
maybe.
tell anyone. So, yeah, I hope, because it's 2 years away, that they take this stuff on board. But I think Max is kind of like, it could be another 2014 to 2018, 19, again with Mercedes just running away. Well, especially 2014 to 2016, where they were miles ahead of everyone. And but what I do see a little bit of a silver lining is by that time, the cost cap could have, equaled out the teams.
Yeah.
So we might have because there's only been like a year of cost cap, by 2026, and the wind tunnel time, we might have cars that are closer together.
True.
And either that will go really well, or someone will build another super engine, and it's like, oh great, now we've got to catch up again.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling that that's probably what will happen. And I can see it being one of the teams that are already part of Formula One. I can't see Audi coming in and wiping the floor with everyone.
So you don't think Audi or Red Bull would be ahead?
I feel like it will be Red Bull or probably Mercedes who are ahead.
That will be their first time as an engine manufacturer.
Yeah, but Red Bull, obviously, they're sort of not the first time as an engine manufacturer, technically. So
because we're going to have Red Bull powertrains,
yeah,
Mercedes,
yeah,
Renault, and Honda.
Yes.
So
I think that Honda won't have very good engines because they never do at the beginning of regs. And I understand they've only just left Formula One and they'll be rejoining, but Honda never typically do very good at the beginning of regs, or they haven't in recent memory. I think it'll be Mercedes that managed to get like the most out of the engine at first.
As Audi, right? Audi will have their own engine.
So yeah, so the different manufacturers will be Ford, Red Bull, Renault / Alpine, I guess, but Renault. It will be Mercedes,
Honda,
and Ferrari.
I forgot about Ferrari.
How could you forget about Ferrari, man? Honestly,
I don't know.
But so there's 5 different engine suppliers on the grid. Yeah. So it's
I think Mercedes could run away with it again.
That's I just looking at it from.
If you look at past experience,
and knowing where Mercedes are right now, they will find any leeway in the cost cap right now to just dump as much resource as possible into those 2026 regs and stuff like that. And I think that they will be the ones that come out on top, especially with how good Mercedes's like electric powered cars are right now anyway. I think that they really like their production vehicles. I think that they really will come out on top at the beginning of these regs. I have a funny feeling that they will. But we'll wait and see. It's way too early to predict all of this, essentially. We're still years and years off. So, yeah. But I think that, like I said, from a logical perspective, Mercedes will probably be at the top.
Yep. So
if like what Max says, and it will be mostly down to ICE development and stuff like that, then yeah, it will be Merc.
So all we hope is for closer racing.
Yes,
I don't mind.
Fun racing. And I think that the driver should make the biggest difference in the car.
Yes,
that's what it should boil down to. The driver.
It's an engineering competition as well. It's the whole team. It's your Adrian Newey.
It's not a who's the best driver. It's not F2 or F3. Where yes, obviously F2 and F3 are team sports, but they're all set cars that you can only change within a certain amount type thing. So yeah.
So yeah, that was our Silverstone preview, our preview of 2026, and thank you all for listening. And you'll join us when we do a recap of Silverstone and talk about Max Verstappen's latest victory.
Yeah, well, you better join us again, or I'm going to be very upset. But yeah,
you join us because we're first. Well, one of us is first hand going to be at the track, so you'll get some in-depth,
a different insight, my friend.
In-depth feedback,
different insight.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you all for listening. If you haven't subscribed on whatever platform you listen to, follow us on our socials on Instagram and TikTok, where you'll be inundated with memes. And yeah, look forward to speaking to you all next week.
Exactly. See you next week.
See ya.